Evil Squid Comics Podcast, episode 24.
24?
Yes.
Where's Scott?
Scott is here. Hey, Scott. Hey. I'm Drew.
I'm Dom. Yes.
We can hear you, Scott. You're Scott. And every, what's that?
I said fantastic.
Fantastic. That's weird that you couldn't hear us before. Anyway, every couple of weeks we get together and we talk about comic books. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
So, about Mandalorian real quick, since that was on, the finale came out.
The series.
It was like the series finale, wasn't it?
Well, no, I think there's a third season.
No, not a Mandalorian.
Yeah, he said there was. Jon Favreau said they're going to film the Book of Boba Fett and then jump into Mandalorian season 3.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So the Book of Boba Fett's only going to be one season?
Well, he didn't say that for sure.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. I wish the series was over. That's a great way to go out. Like, story done, boom.
Story done, boom.
And we don't need to know if he gets another spaceship or how he does.
No.
I don't need to know if he gets off that planet. He had a mission.
I thought it wrapped up. It basically wrapped up the series great.
Yeah, hit a mission. He solved it. You get to see his face.
It's true.
That's right. Got to see Luke's. Spoiler
alert. So yeah. So what do you guys think of the CGI of Luke? I thought it was crap.
I thought it was fine.
I think any of that stuff, I'm never all that impressed. I think the Tarkin from Rogue One had its issues. The Leia did. The young and Leia and Luke and Rise of Skywalker isn't quite right either. So same with this one. Except for I found it funny that it looks like he hasn't aged in like 8 years, because it's supposed to be, isn't it supposed to be like about 8 years after Return of the Jedi?
I thought it was
like
supposed to be right after.
That was 5. That's what I always heard. But Scott probably knows better. He's more the Star Wars guy.
Did he really look like he aged that much in the new stuff?
New stuff?
Well,
like Last Jedi and stuff?
Yeah. Trilogy, it looked like he aged freaking 40 years.
Yeah, Last Jedi looked like he aged a lot.
He just had a beard.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Whatever. So, thumbs up then?
Mandalorian, no.
Yeah.
In Mandalorian, it looks like he didn't age at all from Return of the Jedi. So
it's only been 5 years. Jedis have clean living. They look good.
It's that milk or whatever out of that.
He hasn't done that yet.
You don't know. Maybe he...
No, I do know. So you're thinking there's no Mandalorian season 3?
That's what I thought.
At first, I thought that Book of Boba was going to be the Mandalorian season 3 myself. But they since, reported that they're going to do 2 series. They'll have the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba. Although the interview or the little snippet I read from somebody that interviewed Jon Favreau, it sounded like the Book of Boba was going to be what they're doing next year, in that Mandalorian is taking a hiatus for like a year and would be coming back in season 3 the next, like in 2022. But I don't know. He
did say, what I read, he said they're filming Book of Boba Fett right away, and then they're going to go right into filming Mandalorian season 3. But they are filming Book of Boba Fett first, and that comes out December 2021. So I was like, does that mean Mandalorian season 3 is not coming out in October like it normally does? Which would suck.
Well, originally, when they did their investor thing, Disney said Mandalorian season 3 was coming out in December of 2021. And then that's what confused me then, because the Book of Boba said December 2021. I was like, so is that season 3 of The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
And then they came out and said, no, to your point, yes, they're filming one, then filming the other. But based off that, it sounded like Book of Boba was filling that Mandalorian season 3
slot,
so to speak. And then season 3 of Mandalorian will follow at some later date.
That's weird. So, yeah, that's going to be weird, because Mandalorian Season 3, like you said, really felt like a series finale, because Baby Yoda's gone. Baby Grogu. So, I don't know. Maybe they should have just ended it. I'm not sure there's much more to do there.
You could do
Well, they there's some different ideas. I mean, they had the whole Darksaber thing, you know, and whatever was going on in Mandalore, and they didn't kill Moff Gideon, so there's some stuff. But you're right, the real heart of the show was pretty much the interaction between the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, and that's kind of tied up. So how successful will it be after that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like printing money, dude.
Printing money.
Well, what's Disney got to think? What? You tied up the whole storyline with our guy and his little cub, Baby Yoda, but we've sold like billions of Baby Yoda things, you know?
Yeah, that seemed like a bad move because Baby Yoda made that show. I'm not sure I want a Mandalorian without Baby Yoda.
You didn't know about Baby Yoda before you wanted the Mandalorian.
I didn't want the Mandalorian.
Oh. Well,
I was ready to see what it was. Mm. Baby Yoda is what sold it.
I saw a cool, it was like a meme on Facebook. It was like a split screen, so it had, I assume it was J.J. Abrams.
Oh
yeah.
Top.
Did you see
that? I saw that.
And the Luke?
Huh?
Yeah.
No. And
really?
It had a caption under it, and he was like, well, it's just impossible to
attract new fans and satisfy the old fans.
Right. He's like, it's impossible to satisfy fans of the original trilogy and attract new fans. And then on the bottom it had Jon Favreau, and he's like, hold my beer.
My beer. Yeah. Figured that. No, did you see somebody that actually took that end snippet of Rogue One where Vader's tearing up everything, and then the snippet of Luke tearing up those Dark Troopers? It's amazing how similar that whole idea and cinematography is. It's insane. You should see the comparison. Somebody's got it up there, but it's incredible to see kind of the, what would you say, visually similarities between the two.
Yeah.
Interesting. I saw New Mutants.
Okay.
Cool. Movie.
How was that?
I liked it.
Cool.
It was almost like two movies. The second half of the movie was definitely better when they get into the
Demon
Bear and all that stuff. Although I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I saw Bloodshot also.
Didn't it have though like an 80s horror vibe to it a little bit?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, it was Breakfast Club meets Friday the 13th. I mean, and they said that's kind of what they were going for. I mean, it was trying to capture that 80s teen whatever, and then make it like a horror movie at the same time. So, but I think that it fits well with that storyline, like the Demon Bear, because they sort of transformed the comic book into a horror comic at that point.
Definitely.
So, I mean, but it was irritating because they had on the DVD that I watched, they had like a 8-minute behind the scenes kind of thing or whatever, and making of, and they had Bill Sienkiewicz on there, and they had the guy that directed the movie, and he's like holding up like the Demon Bear or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I read it, and he's like, I was reading this when it came out, and it was like, I really wanted to make this movie, and he's like, and then this guy, Sienkiewicz, he's like, this guy, Bill Sienkiewicz, came on and did the artwork, and I'm like, dude, seriously? And then they show, Bill Sienkiewicz, on the set, talking to the guy, and I'm like, you love the guy's artwork, and you're making this movie after his stuff, and you can't say his name.
I didn't learn how to say his name until, probably.
Well, I know, I understand that, but later, if you met him, you come, oh, hello, Mr. Sienkiewicz, maybe Bill's just not going to go, hey, that's not how you say my name? I don't know.
Maybe it was awkward.
It was just irritating. It was irritating, but Bloodshot was a total, I don't know, it was a bad movie.
Really?
Just a bad movie.
Not good.
I don't know why it was bad, it was just bad. The only thing that made that movie worth watching, if you have to watch it, is the fight scene on the elevator towards the end. That's a cool action sequence. That was pretty cool.
I thought the action overall was pretty decent in that movie.
Yeah,
it's cheesy and it's Vin Diesel and it's, stupid dialogue, but and I didn't know the twist that he kept getting, rebooted to kill somebody new. So I thought that was a little you know, original type thing, but that was me being somebody that didn't really know the comic materials. So,
right. But I mean,
I agree. It's definitely not like it's like one of those well-produced B-movie type things. It's nothing to really write home about.
I would say it was a bad movie, but anyway,
okay.
I don't know. I don't
My
know.
standards are getting lower.
Like I don't know what I want from a Bloodshot movie, but that wasn't it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know that I would be able to make a better Bloodshot movie, but that wasn't the Bloodshot. That wasn't what was good. No. Spawn. I rewatched the movie Spawn.
I'm sorry. It's pretty bad. I mean, it was bad back then, but watching it now, it's got to be really bad.
The clown cracks me up. Like he's so funny. The John Leguizamo or whatever. Like that character, like he's funny. Like I was laughing at his jokes and stuff, but dude, I mean, it's just when they do like the hell sequences, and it's just like it was like that. What was the Transformers series that was like CGI'd, like back Beast Wars or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
It's like that. Like it's weird. Like it's bad, but it's
not every Michael Bay movie.
Well, no, it's just I don't know, but and I was thinking like that came out in '97. He got that movie fast. Like McFarlane, because Spawn came out in '92.
Yeah,
that was 5
struck
years.
While the iron was hot.
I mean, I was just thinking that's quick.
Now he can't get the next movie made.
Yeah, I know. Because he doesn't have any money, and he has to.
Let's find investors.
He had and he had to kickstart his new toy or whatever. But speaking of kickstart, that one with Matt Kemp, Berserker.
Oh yeah,
dude, they canceled like the books.
They did.
They got unsolicited. I think they're resolicited now. But like I had ordered like 1, 2, and 3, and then they canceled them.
Why?
I have no idea.
Oh, they delayed it. They didn't cancel it.
Well, they canceled my order.
Yeah,
now I have to reorder it.
I think they changed artists.
They changed the artists?
They went from the guy who was going to do it, now Ron Garney is drawing it.
Oh, because they got, like, mega money now? They want to hire real artists?
No, I think the other guy was fine. Maybe he was slow. Maybe he wasn't doing it. I don't know.
I don't know. It kind of soured.
Maybe he said I didn't get enough money, and Ron Garney would do it for cheaper. I don't know, man. But yeah, they changed artists, and so...
Gotcha.
I believe. That was during the Kickstarter shortly after. It was delayed. Which is weird. You think if you infused it with money, it would make it go faster.
Exactly. That's my point. Like, hey, we got... how much? Was it like over $1 million or something?
It was quite a bit. Yeah, it was over $1 million, I thought.
That's a lot of money to make freaking...
But how much does Kiana get?
That's true.
Does he get half? Just for his name?
I don't know, but I don't know that he's like a greedy guy, because you hear about it like on
he's
the Matrix.
He's not a greedy guy, but...
Like, he was like giving away...
From that, Cyberpunk video game or whatever that is getting kicked off PS Network and all this other stuff.
Why?
Yeah, because it doesn't run very well.
Oh. Is he involved with that?
Was Keanu Reeves involved in that?
Yeah, I've seen him in the commercials.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean he's involved with it, does it?
They might have just hired him to be the admin.
They might have just hired him to be the ad dude.
I have no idea. I haven't played it.
Could be.
Oh.
Cyberpunk 2077.
I've seen the ads for the comic books for it.
Cool. Don and I both read Ludocrats, Scott. I'll show it to you. Since you can't see what the camera sees.
We did both read Ludocrats.
And I thought it was pretty much horrible.
Because I bought it?
I bought the trade. Don bought the single issues. As we're apt to do. I thought this would be cool because it's Kieran Gillen, who I generally like. Stokely is the artist, who I generally like. I thought the art was good.
What has Stokely done before?
I don't know. He's done some stuff.
Okay.
But James Stokely, I think that's his first name, James. But yeah, I thought the art was really good. I thought the writing was like sort of trying to be funny and like witty, but wasn't at all. Is that kind of how you felt? It's super wordy.
Right. It's super wordy.
It's kind of like when Alan Moore tries to be funny, and you're like, didn't quite work, dude.
The problem that I had with it is it's
not funny?
Well, no, it's not funny, but...
Oh, so it's not funny. But it's supposed to be funny.
I don't know. It might be.
Maybe it's not supposed to be funny.
But the problem I have with it is it's all made-up words.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And what I mean by made up, because, you know,
made up words?
Groot, or isn't it Rocket? Whoever. All words are made up.
I am Groot.
Sure.
No, one of those movies is like, all words are made up.
All words are made up.
Right. Exactly. But is what I'm saying is, like, they've created, like, their own language.
Like a lot of terms that you don't
A lot of terms that you don't understand, and then, I don't know if they had all the back matter.
There was a lot of back matter, which I did not read.
In yours, because then they
did.
Okay. So then they have, I read all the back matter. So they have, like, encyclopedias that you can kind of learn the world, and then they had, like, one of them had, like, a dictionary that had, like, the words and stuff. And it's not, like a foreign language type of word. It's just like, so the whole Ludocrats is supposed to be ludicrous, which it is. It was ludicrous, and so like everything is like ludicrous in this series. But that's what I had trouble with. Was it seemed like they tried to jam too much stuff in there that you have no context for.
Yeah, maybe too much world building.
Too much world building, but I mean,
jokes.
And all, I mean, so there's this group of Ludocrats, I guess. They're like aristocrats. And there's one character that's
He's like the Pope or something.
The Pope, but I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, the High Papal
Pope. The High Papal Father or whatever. And so, like, this one guy and the Pope guy are like brothers, I think, right?
I have no idea.
And then, so, like, the whole story is, well, most of the story is that they go the first issue starts out with a wedding, and so they're at a wedding, and then the main character guy with the big orange beard, I don't even know their names, but that guy, he like falls in love with like this lady who's like part machine or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she gets captured, and so then they have to go and try to rescue her.
But the main thing is the Pope is trying to be less ludicrous.
Right.
And so he's trying to be less ludicrous, and the Ludocrats are against that because they're all about being ludicrous.
Correct.
And so they're like fighting against the Pope, you know.
Right, because he's trying to make things more normal.
But he kidnaps this lady, and then they go and rescue her.
Right.
Inside the belly of some giant space beast or something.
Yes, which was weird because, like, that thing didn't...
It had a lot of fun, interesting concepts, but it just, like, the execution was bad.
Yes, and I'm with Drew on this one. It was very wordy. Most of the time... wordy,
and it was, like, trying to be funny and witty, but, like, with lots of words and, like, intellectual. It was trying to be, like, smart funny. Right. But it wasn't smart and it wasn't funny. No. Or maybe it was too smart and then it wasn't funny.
And then a lot of times...
Generally, funny is less smart.
Yeah.
It's hard to be smart and funny. It's possible. It can be done, like Monty Python. But this is not Monty Python.
No. And a lot of times I give you a hard time because you're like, oh, it's got too many words in it. It's a comic book. It's supposed to have words. But this one, I'm kind of with you. It was like, it was too much. Maybe it should have been 10 issues.
Nah, it just was...
should have been spread out.
Maybe.
Maybe it wasn't decompressed enough.
Could be.
But, so then, like, spoiler or whatever, like, at the end of it, so then they have, like, a traitor. There's a traitor. And then they wipe out everything, right? Like, that's that's the Pope's whole plan is to, like, get rid of everything.
Sure.
And then, so, like, it's just, like, white pages, like, 2 or 3 white pages. Like, it goes to nothing, and then it comes back, and they're like, because that was trying to not be ludicrous was to go to nothing, and then that was ludicrous that they tried to be not ludicrous, and then it turned back. I don't know, it had like a weird twisty end.
It had a weird. To it. It tried a lot of different methods to make the story interesting, but at the end of the day, it was too wordy and it just wasn't funny.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't well executed. Other than the art was good. Jane, I'd read another book if Stokely did the art.
I would not read another Ludocrats.
I would not read another Ludocrats. I would read another Stokely book.
Well, yeah, but what if Stokely did
Ludocrats? I would not be in. No, unless he was writing it.
I'm not.
Maybe it'd be good.
I'm not in for it.
But, you know, I was thinking, it's like, there's not a lot of Kieran Gillen that I personally have really enjoyed. Like, I mean, I didn't really care for Journey into Mystery. His Iron Man run was okay. I didn't get into Wick Div, The Wicked and Divine. So,
right.
I mean, but maybe I would enjoy that if I
Is
gave
Gillen
it a chance.
the one that did the, God, what was the name of that? The,
Young Avengers?
No. The one where it was like the alternate World War II where
Hitler I didn't. Uber. I never read that.
I read Uber.
That was supposed to be
and
pretty
I
good.
Liked it.
You seem like you liked that.
And I've read the first...
I'm just saying Gillen hasn't really knocked anything out of the park for me personally that I've read. So maybe I just need to avoid him, possibly. I don't know. But Ludocrats, it was a big thumbs down for me. Yeah. Did you read anything, Scott? I can't put it up here on the cool monitor. I'll have to CGI in it later.
Did you read anything other than your required reading?
Bunker. Oh, nice. Are you mute again or you can't speak?
I just can't speak.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, you want me to talk about this one?
Yeah, go ahead and talk about Bunker.
So let's see here. Read Bunker from Joshua Hale.
Fialkov.
And I can't even pronounce that other last name.
Fialkov.
Fialkov.
We interviewed him on our podcast one time.
Fialkov. We did interview him on our podcast about 10 years ago.
Yeah, at least.
Wow. My, how time flies. You know, this ought to be like lesson 101 on how to open a story and really just draw in a reader.
Yeah, it has a good opening.
I mean, it just goes from like, you know, oh, look, here's some people, boom. And immediately it's like jumping right into its overall plot. And you know, really, at least for me, drew me in, but I think that's because of the fact that I kind of like the timey-wimey stuff and, you know, kind of the whole lost ideas, you know, and things like that. Always brings me in. I like those kind of like little mystery-type aspects. So far, I've really enjoyed this. They're doing some character building, you know, after that initial just drop, you know, in the first issue, you know, and things, and the exploration thereafter. One of the things that I thought was interesting, too, is when I opened this up and flipped through it, I don't know what I really thought of the art. It was kind of, you know, I was like, I don't know, you know, it's kind of got a real, you know, gritty, almost dirty feel, you know, type things in there. But reading the story with the art and how differentiated the characters are and everything, I thought that the art really works well for this for the story that's being told here. And actually, I ended up really liking the art as the story went on and everything, which kind of surprised me because, like I said, when I first went through it, I was kind of not totally sold really there until after I was reading. But yeah, so far I really like this. And has it been out like forever, I assume?
Yeah, it's been a while. I think there's a few more trades that I don't have, so I'll have to get the rest of them. We'll have to read the rest.
Yeah, it'd probably be pretty good. Like I said, it could go either way, especially after this first trade, you know, type things. It could, you know, continue to be really solid and good, or it could just end up really slowing down and being rather boring or something like that too.
Yeah.
But it opened with a bang, and I thought it was really moving at a pretty cool pace, you know, and things, and opened a lot of, you know, possibilities. So yeah, so far I like it.
Cool.
Nice.
You liked it?
He liked it, Mikey.
I read Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Is that 4 issues?
It's 4 issues.
Nice.
I think they might be oversized, like longer. I don't know. This was really cool. It reminded me of Extremity. I'll show it to Scott real quick. It's by the guy who did Extremity, Scott. But he did a Wonder Woman story. And the basic gist of it's like hundreds of years after like an apocalypse. And Wonder Woman gets woken up, and then she finds the Earth basically in shambles, and there's kind of post-apocalyptic type thing. And so she goes around trying to save the Earth, basically. She gets in with like a group of scavengers, and of course they try and capture her, make her try and fight in an arena, and then ends up being against Cheetah, and of course she somehow pulls out of that and like rallies the troops and overthrows the government and like becomes a new leader, and then tries to march them off to salvation. They're going to go to Themyscira, or whatever, however you say her home world. There's a big twist at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but, you know, things aren't quite what they seem, and she doesn't quite understand why the Earth...
Actually in 1984.
Yeah, but there was a... the Earth... supposedly, like, they shot a bunch of atomic bombs off and scorched the Earth, and that's what caused it, but there's a twist. That's not really what happened. But it's Daniel Warren Johnson, and so if you like his art, which is very manga-ish and sort of kind of over the top and just kind of lots of action. It really feels like Extremity, but yet with Wonder Woman. I mean, like a lot of the design, and I mean, he has a very distinct style and design sense, and it has a lot of that stuff in it. But it's really good. I really enjoyed it. Like the story isn't super important and not super logical, but it's a great setup for him to do what he does, which is draw really cool scenes and create interesting settings and action sequences and stuff. If you ever want to see Wonder Woman like punch Superman through the chest, this is the book for you. Like like the scene where Batman kicks the crap out of Superman in Dark Knight Returns. Well, if you want to see Wonder Woman kick the crap out of Superman, then this is the equivalent of that, basically.
Nice. So it's Wonder Woman Dark Knight.
Yeah, it kind of is too, but it's, like I say, it's very different than that, obviously, because it's this post-apocalyptic future type thing. But yeah. I really enjoyed it because I like Daniel Warren Johnson. So if he drew just about anything, I'd pretty much be in. So I really dig his art style and just his storytelling and all that good stuff. But yeah, it was really good. Enjoyed it.
Sweet.
So that is Wonder Woman Dead.
I'm going to go ahead and do this Devil's Highway.
Okay.
I think you talked about it, but I haven't really read a lot of... I've been buying a lot of this... AWA. Which I didn't realize that, it's Axel Alonso.
Yeah.
And Bill Jemas.
Yeah, Bill Jemas.
Yeah, which I was like, okay.
But Bill Jemas is kind of the background. They don't really promote him much.
Right, no, but he's like in the credits. I mean, he's like president or CEO or publisher.
Devil's Highway. It's Veronica Mars meets Stumptown, but not as good as either.
I liked this.
I know, it's good.
I'll actually, if it keeps going,
you said you were going to buy the next one.
I did?
Yeah, when I talked about it, you're like, I'm not buying the next one.
Oh.
Before you'd read it.
Oh, I'm buying it now.
Now you are. You liked it.
Cool. Oh, yeah. So yeah, basically this is about, it's pretty much about truckers, like serial killer truckers.
Yeah.
And they have this
good elevator pitch.
They have this cult kind of that they're all in it together, and there's like several of them. But I mean, so there's this girl, she's probably in her 20s or whatever. And it starts out, there's a guy, and he like works in this diner, and it's Christmas time, and his daughter has apparently not come home, and it's like, oh, she's coming home, and anyway, he gets killed, like that night. And then the daughter, I don't know if she was already coming home, or she comes home because her father got killed, but she's like, you find out later on that she's been like in the army, or she's been over in the Middle East or whatever, and she's kind of a badass, so she's taken it upon herself to try to find out who killed her father. And then it's all linked into this
truckers serial
killer cult ring. And so there's like some crazy ex-FBI guy or whatever that's been on the case, and they kind of team up and track down part of it. And it's left open. I mean, It says in there they're going to have another series or whatever, but I mean, it kind of ties up. I mean, they solved the murder, but they have the wider overarching thing of the cult, because I mean, they only really take
and
care
you could
of
take
a part
these
of
characters and put them in any story.
Well, yes, you can, but I mean, I'm kind of like I'm sort of into that. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts on like true crime and stuff like that. So I mean,
this is made up though.
Well, yeah, it is.
Oh,
made.
Okay, cool.
I know that it's made up.
You thought it was a true story?
No, I know it's not a true story, but it's kind of in that vein of. I mean, that's not anything new. I mean, there's been and there have been like
serial killer truckers.
That's perfect. Like it says in the book. I mean, that's perfect. You're on the road. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, it's perfect for you.
Perfect.
But
perfect
lifestyle.
I thought it was a well done series. I just didn't think it was anything super original.
No, well, I don't know.
I mean,
have you read a lot of serial killer trucker ring?
I mean, that part was kind of interesting, but I mean, the girl. I mean, it's really about the girl, and her dad is killed, and so she's trying to solve the mystery.
Right.
And,
yeah.
I mean,
I
feel like I've read that story 1,000 times.
I liked it. I thought it was.
But
good.
no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's competent. It's well done.
Maybe I've been reading way too much superhero stuff lately, and just something different. It was different. I liked it. Cool. I read that. I read some other stuff from them, and I really enjoyed the 3 series that I read.
Cool.
I'm like ready to eat this stuff up.
Eat it up. Did you read Year Zero?
No, did you give that to me?
No, I have it digitally. I never gave it to you.
Oh. No, I have not read it, but
Okay. Cool.
I'm thinking about probably buying trades out of them guys, maybe. I don't know.
Does Scott have another one?
I do.
All right, go ahead, man.
Go for it.
Ooh, Animorphs.
And, I haven't read that.
You didn't read that?
No, I didn't buy it.
Yeah,
I have to get yours if I'm going to read it.
Yeah, it's probably not quite for you because it's kind of for kids, but what'd you think?
For me or
it
for
is.
Scott?
You could definitely, get that vibe through it, and stuff. I mean, and there again, it moves, at a quick pace. It kind of hits a certain, what would you say, tween tropes, of things.
Absolutely.
And stuff. It's kind of got what almost more of like a Stranger Things type of vibe, in general, of things.
Sure.
To be a group of, what would you say, young teens that get thrown into some supernatural trouble. And in this case, the world is about to be taken over by, freaking
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Can,
yeah.
Inhabit humans and things. But, the dialogue and everything, I mean, there's nothing really groundbreaking there. It's pretty simple, straightforward and stuff. So therefore it moves, though, at a crazy pace. I mean, this whole thing, it's fairly thick. It's like, 250 pages or something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
30? Yeah, and I mean, and you can read it in probably, hour and a half?
Sure.
And that's for me, who tends to be a slow reader, so, somebody else like Drew probably read it in 15 minutes.
I don't know, it seemed like it took a little while because there's a lot in there. It's pretty dense.
There is a lot to take in, but it still felt like it was a fairly quick read, though, overall.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
maybe it was about 2 hour read.
No,
What's that?
No, I agree.
But as our friend of the podcast, Chris Grind, does the art of this, and it's freaking spectacular. I just like his style, though, I think, in general, though. So I think it works really good in this kind of, teen story, type of things and stuff. He does a really good job, of the kind of showing the morphing, of these kids, and things into different animals and stuff. And just the overall, scenes of aliens, and different animals and things. He does a really good job, illustrating that. And so the art alone, it's really worth, taking a chance on it just to take a look at it.
Cool. Glad you liked it.
Oh, shows.
Back to me.
Back to you.
I'll hit the big one. Oh,
Are you gonna ruin
big
it?
one. Oh,
Are you gonna ruin it?
You haven't read it?
Fuck no, I haven't read it.
East to West, Apocalypse, Year 3.
I know, right?
Oh my God!
So I made
Does
it.
it all wrap up?
Yeah, it all wraps up. It all ends.
It's gonna break your
Very
easel.
satisfying?
It's gonna break my easel. It was very satisfying, actually. I really enjoyed it. I was thinking, this is like the first John Hickman, like,
Love
very.
story, right?
It really is, but not just about romantic love, but just love in general. He does wrap it all up. There's the Chosen, which is the group of people who are trying to bring about the end of the world. You got the Beast, who's on the cover there, the Death Son, and I don't know. I mean, it basically picks up right where the last one left off, where kind of Death and his son, the Beast of the Apocalypse, are kind of off, kind of on their own little journey together. And so you kind of get that whole father-son bonding thing going on. But while that's happening, there's all the machinations of all these different, new nations in the United States are fighting and having this big war, and people are uprising. There's revolutions. It's just all that stuff's going on at once. And he just weaves it all together really well into where, I didn't even reread Year 2 to kind of get caught up. I felt like I could just jump right in. I didn't really miss a beat, even though it'd been probably 2 years since I'd read anything. And so I felt like I could jump right in and he, not be very confused at all, really. I mean, I'm sure I'd get more if I went back and got all the little minutia. But, I got the gist of it, and it worked really well.
Are they all that thick?
Yeah, I think so. Each one is 15 issues, because it's 45 issues total. This was
Bookloot's huge.
15. And so each one is 15 issues. I mean, there might be a couple thicker ones because they're wrapping it up, but maybe the last issue was a little thicker.
Yeah. I don't know.
Type of thing.
Tell you.
But,
Did they have some delays throughout?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't come out monthly or anything. I mean, it's been like probably 7 years to put out 45 issues, maybe 5 years. I mean, so it hasn't been every month, but it's been pretty consistent. I mean, so they've been cranking on it. But yeah, this was the first.
Seemed like there was maybe a long hiatus in there, but maybe that was just the fact that.
No, I don't think there was a huge hiatus. It did take a while. Maybe towards the end, it seems like things always kind of slow down or whatever. But no, I mean, he really stuck the landing. I thought, like, I mean, it ended, well, and it kind of brought it all together, and you kind of really cared about the characters, and you just really felt an emotional connection and kind of emotional climax. So yeah, I mean, it was super good. I mean, I can't complain at all. Like I said, this is the first series that Hickman's really ended of his creator-owned stuff. I mean, he's done some minis and stuff, like 5-6 issues.
I shouldn't have grabbed that.
But other than that, there wasn't a lot that where he actually ended a series like that. Because Dying of the Dead didn't end, and Manhattan Projects didn't really end, and Black Monday Murders hasn't ended. So anyway, no, he did a really good job. I was impressed. One of the better series, out there, I think.
I wanted to borrow your volume 1 and volume 1. I want to go back and reread all of it.
Yeah, definitely, you could. So, but cool. East to West, 2 thumbs up, man. I loved it.
Sweet.
Yep.
I'll talk about the Resistance.
All right.
Stay on this AWA.
Okay.
So I know you've already talked about it. This is issue 2, Scott. Resistance. It's by J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Deodato Jr. Artwork. So this is... it's weird, right? I mean, it's not like, a global pandemic story has never been done before, but it's kind of weird with the timing of this because it kind of got right. It got shut down because of a global pandemic.
It's true.
Anyway, the story is basically there's this virus. It's a global pandemic, and it kills a shit ton of people. And then all of a sudden it just...
320,000, 40,000?
No, a lot more than that. Like, I don't know. 40 million or something,
yeah.
A couple million. But, and then so everybody's scrambling around. So it is very timely. It's just weird. It's crazy, like, how some of the stuff that happens in this, like, actually happened. And, of course, it's, like, fiction or, a movie or whatever. And some of the stuff is over the top, like, I don't know, like China blowing up one of its own cities or something to, like, try to contain it. Like, just dropping a freaking bomb on it. Like, that never happened. But, anyway, so there's this virus, a pandemic, and then all of a sudden it just stops. Like, it just goes away. But everybody's like, well, we don't know if it's going to come back. Like, why did it stop? Well, some of the people, like...
Trump said it would.
Right, I know. And it's funny, there was, like, a quote pulled straight out of something. I don't remember what it was, but, I mean, it was right out of, like, headlines or whatever. But, so some of the people, like a certain percentage of the people got superpowers. And so it's like Drew said, I mean, it's kind of like Rising Stars. It's kind of like stuff that J. Michael Straczynski has done before. And so, like, there's all these new people that have superpowers that have never had superpowers before. And so then you have the dilemma, well, if you were a good person before you got superpowers, what would you do when you got them? If you were a bad person before you got superpowers, like, what would you do with them? And so it's kind of like this whole world just came off of this.
I'd be a good person.
Yeah. Just came off of this pandemic, and then, boom, now all these people have superpowers. It's like, well, what do we do with them? Do we... And then there's, like, one issue that deals with, like, there's already an agency or whatever, and they're, like, hiring people. They're hiring superheroes, and they go in, and because this guy comes in, he's like, well, I have all these powers. I want to do good. And they're like, okay, well, here, they have, like, a chart on the wall. Like, they pick one word from this side of the chart and one word from this side of the chart, and that's your superhero name. So it's like Captain vengeance or whatever, you know, and then they're like, go back into it, now go meet with our costume guy, and, you know, he goes back into the wardrobe room, and there's like, guy, okay, these colors look really good for you, like, we use light colors for spring colors for superheroes and dark colors for supervillains, and, you know, like, get your costume picked out, and then it's just like a business. I mean, it's almost like they took, like, kind of like things from The Boys, things from, you know, Rising Stars, things from Youngblood. I mean, it was like they just took a bunch of stuff from like different things and just crammed together. But I really liked it. I thought that they did it really well. Like I'm ready to read like season 2 or whatever, year 2, whatever. Because I mean, they said in there that they're going to have more of this too.
Sure.
So I mean, I'm on board for it. I liked it. I mean, Straczynski's a really good writer. I mean, and then they get into a thing where which they kept referencing like moths, MOTHS, moths,
Mm-hmm.
because then there's some people that they get their superpowers, but they burn them out really fast, really quickly. So like they only live for like 6 months after their powers manifest, and they call them moths. And then they were saying that like there was a series, but I never saw the series. And then it even references in there like, see Moths issue number 3 or whatever, and I'm like, I don't think that book exists, but I don't know. It was weird. And then so the point is, so like there's a resistance. That's why it's called the Resistance. And then there's like they start talking about like it could possibly be the virus could have been alien in nature or whatever.
Sure.
Like aliens
So
could have sent it here or something. And so there's like they build up this resistance. They build up like a team of superpowered people to like fight the establishment or whatever, and that's where the resistance comes in. But I liked it. I mean, even like with the people that burn out. I mean, that goes back to what was that Marvel series that was like way back in the day, Strike Force Mortuary.
Oh yeah, Mortuary.
I mean, so it's like these ideas have been floating around forever. I just thought they took a bunch of them and crammed them all together.
Yeah.
And Straczynski did a great job of writing it, I thought. And the Deodato artwork was good. It wasn't his greatest stuff, but it was good.
It may have worked better reading all at once. Reading it month to month, it just felt disjointed to me.
Well, I know you seemed kind of down on it, and I read it. I really liked it.
But like I said, I just felt like you said, it was a shotgun approach to superheroes being realistic in the world, and it just...
Huh? Well, it was... They released 6 issues, so it was like the first story arc. So, I mean, it's going to keep going. Like, at the end of number 6, it said, come back next year or whatever for whatever.
Season 2.
Season 2 or whatever they call it. So, I mean, yeah, it's an ongoing series, but they'll probably do, like, the image model. And that's the thing, too. Like, if you read, like, because Axel Alonso...
Every 5 years?
Yeah. Axel Alonso does, like, a letter from the editor, like, in the back of every issue. And he's like... This is the stuff I've been harping like forever, because at one point he's like, we're gonna take, and he kind of took credit for it, but it's like the image model, like Farmhand, like any image series, like we're gonna crank out like 5 or 6 issues,
take a break,
and then we'll take a break, we'll release a trade, and then we'll come back like in 2 or 3 months recharged, and we're gonna do like the next 5 or 6 issues.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what he was talking about. He's like, yeah, this is how we're going to do our books. And this is a breakthrough. And I'm like, it's not a breakthrough, dude. Image has been doing it for...
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool model. It works well. I like it. But you didn't come up with it. like, don't take credit for it, you know? But I think Axel Alonso, I don't know him, but I mean, he was a good editor. I mean,
he seems like a smart guy.
He seems like a smart guy. And it's just... It's kind of cool because it's like a whole business model, you know what I mean? Like, and I really liked the stuff that I've read, so I want to support the AWA Upshot or whatever you call it. So, anyway, I like Resistance. I will read more of it when it comes out. So,
all right. Is it my turn again? Maybe it's Scott's turn. You got another one, Scott?
It might be Scott's. I don't know.
I got nothing else besides
our joint one. All right. I read Mahdi. Once Upon a Time in the Future. Apparently this was a Kickstarter. I just ordered it because it looked like a cool trade that they were putting out. But it was a Kickstarter. Did I say that already?
Z2. Yeah. Is that Z2? Is that the thing that...
I don't know. You get obsessed, fixated on the weirdest things.
No,
but anyway, it's totally irrelevant that Z2. It means nothing, dude.
It's the publishing.
Yeah. I don't know why you're obsessed with that. Why are you fixated on that?
Justin Zimmerman, the dude that came to AirCap in 2019, is that the label that he published stuff under?
So. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Might be, but I don't think so. All right, so this was a Kickstarter. Duncan Jones is the story guy, and Alex DeCampi wrote it. It's really their show, because what they've done is they Kickstarted it, and they hired probably like 12, 15 different artists to illustrate this story. I thought it might be an anthology, but it's not. It's one story. They just got 15 different artists to do it, which to me is jarring and not good at all. And I don't like that at all.
Unless you got 15 really good artists.
They got some pretty decent guys, but even so, the styles don't mix. So they said that they have like a different artist for each location, which I guess kind of works, but still, it didn't really feel like it flowed very well. But so Duncan Jones, he's a movie director. He did a movie called Moon. Have any of you guys seen the movie Moon?
I don't think so.
Super good movie. But then he made a second movie, which is part of like the trilogy of Moon.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. But it's called Mute, and I never saw Mute. Well, apparently this is the third one in this trilogy of movies that are sort of like futuristic, but not really connected. Like they're not the same characters or anything. But anyway, in Mahdi, the basic story is it's like the future, cyberpunk. There's these people that are enhanced with like stuff, and people can like jack into them and like take control and like, puppet master them or whatever, But they're like this special team of ops, and they're all enhanced, and they can be puppet mastered. Well, there's some kid that they've modified, like a little kid, like he's like 8 or 9. And so they basically are hired to like, deliver him, and then they get, it's kind of like Baby Yoda scenario. Then they get cold feet and decide to rescue him, and they're on the run from these people who are trying to capture him. So that's basically the gist of the story. Some of the artists, they got like Simon Bisley to do some. They got James Stocco.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got some good artists. Duncan Fregado, Chris Weston, all sorts of decent people. But it's all just Pia Guerra, the lady who did Why the Last Man. She does the arc. So, I mean,
Is that Bisley?
Excellent.
That's Glenn Fabry, I believe.
Oh, okay, Fabry.
But yeah, so they got a lot of good artists. But at the end of the day, it just, I don't know, switching artists every 8, 10, 15 pages just feels disjointed to me. And it just doesn't flow very well for a comic book. I mean, overall, it's okay. It's well written, and it's an interesting story. But then again, it doesn't really feel super original, Like, I think it probably would have worked better as a movie because it could have relied more on, like, the pacing and the visuals and stuff. I just don't think it's got enough going for it to be that intriguing as a comic.
This is Bisley, right?
Yeah, that's Bisley. So
Bisley's stuff is, it seems like I really like his older stuff. Like, his later stuff doesn't impress me as much. And I love his artwork. Like, it's cool, but I don't know. It used to grab me a lot. And I've read a few things lately of his, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
just different.
But anyway, it's okay. Like I said, I wouldn't highly recommend it unless you're just really into cyberpunk. If cyberpunk's your thing, then this book would probably be cool, but not really that great.
So did you buy this, so they published it after a Kickstarter?
Yeah, I didn't
Kickstart
it. Yeah, I just bought it out of previews.
Gotcha.
So. But yeah, it was okay. Like I said, I didn't know much about it when I bought it. I just saw it looked like a cool trade, and I was looking for something to add to my order. So
Gotcha.
I grabbed it. But yeah, it was okay. It was an interesting experiment. Didn't really work for me, but your mileage may vary, type of thing. So that was Mahdi, Once Upon a Time in the Future.
Scott's like this. So there's a new series that came out. It's called Star Wars Bounty Hunters through Marvel.
It's not really a new one, is it?
Well, it's got
or did
7.
They do a reboot or something?
It's got 7 issues out.
Okay.
So it's.
I was gonna say I remember seeing that there was like I've seen Bounty Hunter, that title and things on some past comics, but I thought it had been around for a bit.
As far as I know, this is new. So Star Wars Bounty Hunters. This is pretty good. It's got. So I guess I'm not familiar with the character, but this guy on the cover, his name is Valance. He was like, I guess, a character that was introduced in the original Marvel run back in the series that they did like back in the 70s, like that original Star Wars Marvel run. He was like, I guess he wanted to be like an empire, an imperial, whatever you want to call it, like a person that worked for the empire, like a pilot or whatever, and he got jacked up in like some battle, and then they brought him back, and they had to, like, half of him was gone, so they had to like replace him like with cybernetic stuff, but the empire, huh?
RoboCop.
Yeah, he's like RoboCop, but the Empire is like, that guy's a goner. They're like, don't use our good stuff on him. They're like, he's not gonna make it anyway. So they like just kind of put him back together with like crappy shit, and I guess now he's a bounty hunter. But anyway, this story's kind of cool because it has Boba Fett, it has this Valance guy, it's got Bosk in it. Forlom and Zuckuss appear like later on. And so pretty much the story starts out, and it's like this Valance guy, Bosk, and Boba Fett. I think there's like maybe a couple other people that I don't remember who they are. But anyway, they're kind of like a crew, like they're working together. Or at least they are for this mission. I think Boba Fett might have come along at the end, like because they needed a fifth guy or whatever. But they're supposed to go do this mission. They get hired or whatever. They're supposed to like protect this. He's like one of the mafia families, like their kid or something, like an heir to one of the mafia families or something. But anyway, it all goes wrong, and one of the people gets killed, and so like this all happens, and then they kind of focus on this Valance character, and like it's like 5 years later. Well, one of the main ladies that kind of put the whole crew together, like it's her fault that this last mission went wrong, and she went like in hiding. Well, she's had like this huge bounty on her head, like since that happened for 5 years, and then she kind of pops back up on the radar. So like all the bounty hunters come out of the woodwork to try to take out this lady, and so they run back into Bosk and they run back into Boba Fett, and then they kind of sort of work together at some points, and then you learn like from the past, like what happened on the mission, like they do it kind of in flashbacks or whatever. But I liked it. It's cool. I mean, I've read up to 7 because that's what I have and that's what's out. And I mean, it's still kind of that same storyline. So I don't know. It's cool if you like bounty hunters and kind of like Mandalorian kind of thing or whatever. But like, it's kind of cool to see like Forlom, however you say it, and like Zuckuss, like they're working together. I mean, it's like, Empire, you saw like all these cool like bounty hunters, and then like nothing else from them.
At, like the last minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Said, hey, why don't we put some people up there?
Right, and I know that like I'm sure that like through the years, like through novelizations and through maybe some of the Dark Horse stuff or whatever, like and maybe even, I've never read the entire original Marvel run, so like maybe they get into that stuff. But me personally, I haven't had a lot of experience with these characters. It's just kind of cool to have like comic book with these guys kind of floating around and stuff. But no, it's definitely cool. I liked it, so I think Scott would probably dig it. You might like it too, but I don't know. I always think Scott's probably more into the bounty hunter type stuff from the Star Wars.
He does have a Mandalorian tattoo.
He does have a Mandalorian tattoo.
I do have a Mandalorian.
And Boba Fett is in it quite a bit. So
cool.
But no, it's good. I liked it.
The only other one I have before we get to our joint one, I read Adventure Man. Adventure Man.
Okay, I'm not all the way caught up, so don't spoil it for me.
Okay,
I've only read
this is the first thing I read, so I barely remember it.
It's good. The art's awesome. It's
Terry Dodson does the art. Matt Fraction writes it. It's the art is awesome. You had kind of built it up, and so maybe I was expecting too much. I was pretty excited about this book though, because it looks like it's Indiana Jones. It's Matt Fraction, Terry Dodson. The art's beautiful. It's kind of got that 40s like pulp hero vibe because of the whole team of pulp heroes. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, I just felt like it didn't really hit all the notes, or all the pacing was off a little bit. Like, I mean, it wasn't like a home run. Like, it was really good. It just wasn't quite as good as I was hoping it was going to be.
It's like 75%. Like, it's top 75. Like,
Yeah,
out of
totally,
100,
totally,
like,
totally.
It's
Yeah, it's
upper
just
echelon.
it just didn't hit
stuff.
like the 90th percentile for me.
Right, but
yeah,
it's
no, it's still
I
super
loved
solid. It was pretty fun. It was good. So it starts with like the group of like the 40s heroes, and they're like have
That's
to stop.
cool. I love this.
Have to stop like the some evil villain guy is trying to destroy the world, so they have to stop him. And then
Is this 5 issues? Sorry to keep it.
I don't know, dude.
Okay.
What am I, counting issues? And so then it flashes forward. It flashes forward like, I don't know, 40, 50 years to modern day. And there's like this family of people. And then one of the girls is sort of imbued with the spirit of these old pulp heroes. And she starts to like get their powers sort of. And then she becomes like a modern day. And she can see stuff like that no one else can see, like buildings that are from the 40s, you know. So it's kind of weird. I don't quite understand it, and maybe that was part of the issue, is I don't quite understand the rules and what's happening, and it's very, very subtle. But yeah, it was really well done. And she has like a son, and so they like are into like these old pulp stories. They like read them together, and so, and it's got a lot of cool like little things, but I don't know if it all quite came together for me. But it's only like 4 issues, like Don just found out. And so, I mean, it's really just set up. I mean, not much happens. Like, there's no payoff or anything. It really feels like it's just set up.
And I like that there's like an invisible gun or something, like or an invisible man or something with a gun. I don't know. It was cool. Like,
yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. A lot of cool ideas. The action, the art is really good.
The art is insane. I mean, it almost gave me like that Danger Girl feel, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like with that, just the way the art is, and kind of that weird genre, and just like, I don't know, it was just like a mashup of like really cool stuff. But
it is. It's a cool mashup of a lot of really neat stuff, especially if you're into that sort of pulpy stuff. But like I said, it just didn't quite totally come together for me, but it was still enjoyable, and I liked it. I would definitely buy the next one just to see where it goes. I mean, just for the art even. But
yeah, that's cool. I like that.
It's a beautiful book.
I like the hardcover, but it's almost too big. Like,
that's impossible, Don. It can't be too big.
Yeah, I know.
So, but anyway, yeah, Adventure Man. It was pretty cool. Like I said, I'll definitely check out more, but I felt like it was mostly set up, and didn't quite stick the landing or come all together for me yet. But maybe it will in the next thing. But this book comes out so slow, I'm not sure how long that's going to be.
Well, it came out, it kind of got sidelined because of the pandemic too. Because I think,
it's fine. What do you got?
Jesus Christ, you can't even fucking have a conversation.
Damn, do you have to work tomorrow?
No, I do not.
Are you trying to get this fucking thing done or what?
Yeah, let's get this thing done.
Wow. Okay, so this is another of the AAWA. It's called Hotel Hell. It was a 4-issue series. This one I really liked also. So it's basically about this. This is kind of like a Twilight Zone murder mystery. So it's about this hotel that you can only, like, out in the middle of nowhere, that you can only find, like you can't, normal people don't normally see it when you drive by it. You can only find it, like, when you're in trouble or you need it or whatever. It's weird. So basically, it's kind of like 4 rooms or whatever. It's like 4 different stories. Like, there's a different story in every issue. But then as you read, like, the first story, you read it and you're like, okay, that's a cool story. And then the second story, it goes back and takes pieces from the first story where you kind of flash in time, where you're seeing, like, this all kind of happens at the same time. Like, all these stories are taking place while they're happening, and then you see little flashes of other stuff. So it's really just kind of like 4 different stories. It's almost like, what was that? House of Mystery or whatever, where they had that bar or whatever, like in the middle of... No, it was a comic book. But anyway, it's kind of like that a little bit. But it's cool. It's like, I liked it. It was, like I said, Twilight Zone meets like 4 rooms, and they all kind of tie together. And then at the end, they all kind of tie together. And there's like a guy that lives there, or that works at the place, that's like, he kind of knows what's going on. And I don't know. He's like the crypt keeper or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he's there at the beginning of every story, and he's like, oh, this story will set you up in room number 3 or whatever. But anyway, it's a cool story. I don't know that they're going to do it. I think it was just a 4-issue limited series. I mean, they could make it more, but I don't think it didn't say in the back like more Hotel Hell coming. But I liked it. It was good.
Hotel Hell.
And then I got caught up on Farmhand.
Yeah.
Which I know you guys have. You got caught up on it, Scott?
I have read.
So you're up to.
I've read it, but I'm not caught up by any means.
Oh, you're not up to 15. The first 3 trades. Do you buy it in trades?
No, I buy it in single issues.
Oh, and you're caught up.
I'm caught up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So don't spoil anything.
Well, I won't spoil anything. I mean,
Yeah, you can if you want, because I'll forget it.
and there's not really a whole lot to spoil. I mean, this is kind of a pretty straightforward story. I mean, it's got some twists and turns and stuff. I mean, you know, you learn a little bit more about so like it starts out, and this guy has a farm where he grows body parts to help people replace them or whatever, and everything. It's all supposed to be like, oh, the world is a better place now, but it gets to a point where it starts turning, and like somehow like the seed has gotten out, but it's not supposed to be able to get out because he's the only one that's supposed to be able to talk to the seed and make it grow and make it work. Well, you know, you learn, because it goes back and forth, like you learn backstory about how like he had partners in the past, and one of the people that were one of the partners did some stuff they shouldn't have done and kind of put the seed out in the world and figured out how to like grow it on their own kind of thing. And then, you know, it all like everything comes crashing down like at issue 15. Because I think he said that he planned it as a 30-issue series, so we're like halfway through.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're hitting that really high point where everything, you figure out everything, and then it's all turned to shit, and then now you've got to go into the end of the second act, third act, where he pulls it all together. And I mean, I'm sure it's going to get worse before it gets better, especially the way that 15 ended. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. Am I kind of describing it?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Kind of as how it is. But it seemed like, because I mean, it's gone away for a while. He said he was going to take some time off, which he has.
He usually takes a break between arcs, but he said he was going to take a longer break.
An extra longer break, yeah.
Between these 2 arcs.
Because usually it'd be going, like, it ends, he does like 5 or 6 issues.
And then he takes like 3 months off, and then...
Right, but they usually come out in the fall, and then he wraps up in the spring. So, I mean, they should have had something come out by now. At least like issue 16. But he said something.
I think he said he's taking a longer break.
Taking a longer break, which kind of makes me worried a little bit that it's not going to finish. I don't know. Maybe he's not making...
No, I think it's doing fine. I think he just needed to recharge the batteries.
I can understand that. I mean, I'm sure...
Because he's writing and drawing it.
Writing and drawing it. You get burned out. And I get it.
Yeah. Apparently he has a lot of kids, too. I don't know. He's got like 3 or 4 that are running around. So, I don't know. Where's you out, man?
Yeah. I know it does. It does.
So, but
that's all I have.
Cool.
And then our
talk about our joint read. The Authority. First trade.
I wrote the Absolute.
Yes, Don has to have the Absolute because he's so cool.
I am cool.
So we read the first 8 issues.
And you said...
Written by Warren Ellis, Brian Hitch.
You said that your trade's on crappy paper, and it was hard to read, and this thing's beautiful, so...
Yeah, my trade is on crappy paper.
Kick out a little extra moolah, and you can really enjoy it.
I guess mine is, too. It is kind of that...
It just kind of looks a little...
It's really dark.
Yeah, the colors are kind of muddied, and it's not perfect. So... But I remember having like the single issue of this, and the colors were actually better on the single issue paper than they are on the trade paper because it was glossy, and the colors kind of are better on because this is more matte. And normally matte's not always bad, but this is crappy matte paper, and so I don't know, it just doesn't look. But anyway, let's get to the book. So the Authority is spun out of Stormwatch, right?
Spun out of Stormwatch. I think Stormwatch. I've read it, but it's been a long time.
Been a long time.
Stormwatch crashes, huh?
I have those.
Oh, okay.
I do too.
Stormwatch.
I have the trades.
Yeah, Stormwatch basically it gets into a bunch of disarray. It gets actually attacked by xenophobes or whatever type things or whatever. It gets attacked by aliens and pretty much takes out most of the Stormwatch group. And then they basically put in a pasture. Say, Stormwatch is no more. We can't afford you. All that other good stuff.
Right.
And so that's where the authority kind of comes in now.
Yep. And they kind of tell you that. I mean, they don't get into that much detail, but I mean, you kind of pick up that there was this thing called Stormwatch,
and it's gone.
And
these guys sort of are filling the void.
And now they're going to come in, and they're not going to be held. They're not working for anybody. They're working for themselves.
Higher authority,
right?
As they would say.
So they're not going to have anybody.
Hence the name authority.
Right. They're not going to have anybody to answer to. They do what they want and save the world. And in the second arc, they save 2 worlds.
It's true. So, if you had to choose the first or the second arc, which would you choose?
The first one.
I really like the first one better. The first one was a much simpler story, though. Like, it's really just, hey, there's a bunch of superhumans, destroying cities, and we're going to fight them and stop them. And it's like, it's just really cool action, really fun, the way it's all comes together. And he introduces so many new concepts, and there's the carrier and the bleed, and it's flying around the earth, and you can pop out anywhere with these doors. And
okay, so
but that bad guy was so
bad,
right?
He had a pure reason for what he was doing.
Yeah,
it actually made sense.
Sure.
Well, okay, I'll revise it. I don't know. I liked the artwork and the layout and the bad guy, like some of the pages with him on it. Like, I liked that more than the first one, but the story was
artwork in the first, arc. I think I just liked a little bit more too, as well.
Yeah, the bad guy was cool, and that carries over too, because he mentions like, hey, Stormwatch is gone now. I can do whatever I want because there's nobody to stop me. So, I mean, he even alludes to it, and I think there must be some carryover, like he was a villain from the past, from the old series. At least that's the way it made it seem.
It did make it seem that way. I was curious if that was just him making it up, or if he was actually in the old series.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I stared at that for a while.
Here's the thing, is that the authority, and some of the books, at this point in time, in particular the authority, was really the advent of kind of that almost storyboard.
Oh yeah.
Comic book,
This is
the comic book was. That's right. The comic book was being made in almost a widescreen format, like it was going to be almost a motion picture in a way.
Yeah, this is totally widescreen action, big splash pages, double page spreads. I mean, when Hawkmore's just punching people's heads off.
It's like almost a widescreen, type thing. But the action is still just crazy.
Yeah. Well, and then also too, I mean, it's like in this one and in the second one, it's like Apollo. They tried to make him vulnerable, and they did in the second one. They're like, dude, this dude is drained. Like, he just can't fight anymore. But he's like in the second one, they sent him off, and he just does, like, he takes care of the whole invasion on his own.
Yeah.
Like, he's just tearing stuff up, blasting stuff. Like, obviously
that's because he's Superman.
Well, yeah, he's their Superman.
He's their Superman. But the problem is he can't be everywhere at once, type of thing. That's where he kind of starts to...
Right, but I mean, like, they're towards the end of the second story, I'm just like, oh, well, but like I said, they did put limits on him, and
sure,
they did wear him down, but still, it's like, oh, well, he can just do whatever he wants.
Well, all of them are fairly powerful. Like the wizard guy just does whatever. He just turns everything into leaves.
Right.
And the engineer lady, she just snaps her finger and makes whatever she needs.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're all, and Ginny Sparks just electrocutes everything whenever she has an issue.
Because she takes out the entire Albion in the second one.
So I mean, they're all fairly overpowered in that sense.
Yeah, but the Doctor, like, he's new, so I mean, like, he doesn't.
But he's got the experience of every Doctor ever and
right,
all their knowledge.
Yes, but he also has a history of being druggy and strung out.
Yeah,
that's true too.
It's true.
So the first 4 issues is the first story arc, and there's this guy. I can't remember his name. He's a cool villain, but he runs this nation, Gamora, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because he like took out his brothers and like he's running the place, and And so he has this bone to pick with, I guess, the entire world, because he feels like he has the power. If he can do it, then that makes it right, or what? That's a reason to do it, or whatever. But he's got all these. I guess he's manufacturing these superhero bombs,
clones, yeah,
clone bombs, and so he's basically all he's trying to do is burn his symbol into the earth. So he's attacking like 3 cities.
He just wanted to have some fun.
He just wanted to have some fun, and maybe it's because I've read this before and they show you stuff, but it was kind of funny when you're like, well, we superimposed the first 2 cities and then we tied a ring around it and bam, it's Los Angeles. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what he's doing. You know what I mean? It was like this whole like revelation to them, and I'm like, but anyway, so that's basically what I love this scene where Apollo is chasing that one dude back and he's got that force field around it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, the force field's a bad day. Smash.
Who just splats on it, and they like teleport Apollo or pull him into the carrier or whatever to save him. Yeah. Dude splats on that dome like a freaking moth on a windshield or whatever. But that was kind of cool. And so there's this big terrorist country ruler that's just trying to wreak havoc, and they have to deal with him. And then I don't know, do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about like in the first one, or did I cover
I think that's good. I mean, the big money scene, I think, is when Midnighter realizes he has to take down this cloning facility and doesn't have a way, and so he decides, I'll just bring the carrier out of like whatever space and just ram it into this big facility. He's like, all I know to do is how to break stuff, so I just took a really big thing,
as hard as I can,
with the biggest thing I can find. So I mean, that was for me always the funniest part of that one. And then the second one, we can jump into that or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
well, second one's a parallel Earth, where this parallel Earth had basically, what would you say, relations with some type of alien species and had these hybrids and things.
Correct. Like these aliens came in like the 1500s and they started breeding, and so there's like a whole like monarchy set up around these like aliens and their offspring or whatever in this parallel Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But you have some of that alien technology going on too with their weapons and things of that nature.
Correct. How many times did they use the word they turned China into a slave rape
camp or
whatever? I was like, okay, we've said that, I don't know, 15 times in 3 pages. We got.
You really wanted to hammer that point home.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a bit much.
That's a bad thing, but they really hammered that crap in.
That splash page of Jenny Sparks like taking up a whole group though was pretty freaking wild.
Right, I did like that. So the part I did like when they're like, "Do you hear horses?" Like they brought the cavalry. They got like horses on the space because they figure out. So yes, as Scott was saying, or you guys were saying, and so now they basically
are trying to invade Earth. Basically.
Right, they're trying to invade Earth because they've destroyed the planet that they're on, and so they need new resources. They need to turn the whole planet into a rape camp, I guess, is what they're trying to do with Earth to keep their race going. And then Jenny Sparks has ties with them because she was on that alternate Earth or whatever back in like the 1920s and like was a part of some of their battles.
She was aware of them, and they were
and then the one guy.
They were aware of her.
Yeah, and then
she married one.
She married one of them, right? And then, so yeah, that it is interesting because then you get into that alternate Earth and this and that. But so they backtrack and figure out how to access their carrier so they can send troops in through the bleed or whatever into their carrier.
Yeah, so it's funny when they like storm into the authorities' carrier and they have like their troops on like horses, running through wreaking havoc.
Right. And that Jack Hawksmoor guy, man, he's just like decapitating people with his fists. Like you're seeing like jaws come off. He's just like he is a badass. He's like
he's super powered. Like he's very overpowered too. Like if he's in a city, he's like he can just basically be invincible.
In a city, he just can tear things up.
Exactly.
Look at that, though.
Yeah, the art is insane, and like, so I wanted to talk to you.
It really is.
I wanted to talk to you, Drew. I guess mainly you, Drew, about the art because it's Neary, right? That's inking him.
Yeah.
He has a very like Brian Hitch. It has a very oh God, who's the dude that Neary Excalibur?
Alan Davis.
Alan Davis doesn't does his artwork seem Alan Davis-ish to you?
Yeah, I thought Brian Hitch was very Alan Davis, and he had Paul Neary.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Do you think it's more of a Paul Neary, that it's a Paul Neary spin on it? Or do you think that
Brian Hitch
is more Alan Davis?
He's more of an Alan Davis guy. Yeah,
I was just wondering that because, like
I see a lot of parallels between them. I just remember when Brian Hitch first came on the scene, I felt like he was even more so like Alan Davis. You know what I mean? I think he evolved into kind of having his own style a little bit more.
Well, he's got that really rounded, kind of soft line and rounded and kind of cool, but it just struck me because Neary is inked both of them, so I didn't know if it was more of his influence or more of.
I'm sure it's a bit of both, but I think Brian Hitch has worked with other inkers since then. I think he still has Alan Davis. He's kind of like he's a little grittier than Alan Davis in a lot of ways, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely that influence.
Right. Okay. Totally. Cool. Anyway.
So, but yeah.
I think the inking job on that's really great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool. I looked at that page for a while because that's like just a whole splash page of just. Is that Jenny or is that the engineer lady?
That's the engineer.
The engineer lady. Yeah, that's. Yeah, and like with the, I don't know, with the absolute, with the art kind of blown up, you can see a little, you know what I mean? Like you can see a little bit more of it. And I really like that stuff, so I really pay more attention.
Actually, I was wrong. That was Jenny.
But
either way, it was still a good splash page.
Yeah, it's a fairly fast read too. I mean, it's a lot of widescreen. It's a lot of big shots. I mean, there's dialogue in it, but I mean, it's definitely an art-driven story.
Well, that's the thing, is that if it took me a little bit longer, it was because I was stopping to just admire.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
The art and the detail and all the craziness involved.
Like that double-page spread you showed of all those guys flying, you know, I'm sitting there looking at that thing, you know, counting them going, man, you know, this would be crazy to have to draw this. But then, you know, it's like, no, not really. I mean, because, you know, yeah, you've got like maybe 5 or 10 figures really detailed in the front, and then they go to medium size, and then they're just little blips or blops or whatever, you know. So I mean, you know, I'm sure.
How do you feel this holds up though after like 20 years, pretty much?
I think it still holds up pretty well. I mean, it's not as groundbreaking as it was, but I still feel like it's a really solid, fun read. And just, I mean, it's definitely been imitated and maybe done slightly better since then, but I mean, it still is pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good as I remembered it, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of that I think is maybe because of the big. I mean, the story's cool, and I know the story. Like, I remember, you know, certain pieces of the story, and I know that it gets cool and it's better. But I mean, the art. I mean, when this came out, it was the art and the widescreen and the action. And I mean, obviously that's still there and it still holds up really well. I mean, it's not like going back and reading Supreme #1, you know, and going, oh, this thing's like, you know, not as great as I remember when I was, you know, 25 years ago. Like, this was cool. This still holds up
it's
really
still
well.
Good.
I mean, it's still good.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in continuing and reading more of it. So
cool.
Revisiting the rest of it.
Cool. Well, my phone's getting close to dying. So.
Okie doke.
Guys, got anything else? Parting shots. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. There you go. Stay safe, you guys.
Stay safe.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Take care, man.
When you